What's up, everybody? Welcome to Vulnerable AF Friday here on YouTube. No, I haven't really been around a lot. Life's been crazy. The world is crazy. You know, it is what it is. Like, I'm not out here trying to make YouTube like a thing for me necessarily. I'm Nicole Michelle, by the way, for those of you who don't know. This is my channel, Stand Yourself, which, if you don't know, the whole purpose for that was me, I took my cup holder thing out because I was trying to clean my car, and now my drink's sliding around because the divider's not in there. This came from me learning how to, like, love myself and try to work through some of my trauma and things of that nature. And I couldn't stand anybody else because I couldn't even stand myself. I couldn't stand my existence. I couldn't stand my life. I couldn't stand my reality. I hated life. There was a point where I didn't want to be alive. There were times when I was a teenager especially where I had considered ways that I could delete myself, self-delete. And I was harming myself as well. So that's, you know, and nobody really knew, you know, but that's the point of, like, how much pain that I was in. And you think becoming an adult, the pain goes away, you get to escape it, and that's just not true, unfortunately. I wish it were, but it's not. And there are some people in the world where they can just move past things and seem to be unbothered, and then there are some people who are more sensitive, like myself. And it just doesn't work like that for us. And it actually takes work to move beyond the hatred of life, the hatred of self, the everything's against me, victim mentality. It takes a lot. It takes a willingness. It takes honesty. It takes many layers and a lot of time, in my opinion. Maybe everybody else doesn't take as long as I take, and that's fine, because I'm the first one to tell you, life is not one size fits all. Okay, I'm just kind of giving some premise to, like, why this page is here and whatever. And I went back and forth on if I even wanted to do this video here, because I feel like it to some degree gets off track of what the original kind of centralized message was. But if I go to Facebook, where I started making videos, it's gonna delete itself in 30 days. So it's like, you know, I already have this up and going, and I can always just share it to Facebook and whatever, right? So I started this because I wanted to talk about my journey to learning how to have more love for myself, compassion for myself, care for myself, to sort of talk about how I escaped the victim mentality, which was like, I basically had, the only way I could describe it is like a bit of a spiritual awakening. I was having a lot of people who knew me but didn't know each other saying the same thing to me about how I was perceived, which was not necessarily good. For a while, though, I didn't view it as a problem, because that was my way of protecting myself and shielding myself, was to act bitchy and be a bitch, you know what I mean? So I was very much of the mindset before I really started healing that this is who I am, and if you don't like it, fuck you. And I still kind of have that in me. I am who I am, and if you don't like it, fuck you. But when you get to a point where you realize how lonely you feel and how separate and isolated, and I know that's not necessarily all my fault, and I know that's not necessarily all the fault of the world, but I didn't know that then. You know what I mean? When you're in that place of feeling like life has been an uphill battle from day one, which the reality is it kind of is for everybody. Like, we're all out here trying to survive. We're all out here, you know, I don't think there's anybody that goes through life unscathed. If you're not growing up in an abusive household, you probably have some other battle that you're fighting or going to be fighting at some point in your life. I don't think there's anybody that goes through life and doesn't hit a fucking point in their life where it's like, I'm really struggling to want to be here and be present. You know what I mean? And I think that's obvious, especially now. You know, you see a lot of people struggling, a lot of people just going full YOLO and doing things that they think is right and justice, putting themselves in harm's way, which I've previously talked about, or, you know, other things, you know. So it took me time. You know, there was another video, I think, and I might have put it on private. My last video that I did here, I put on private because I just felt like I didn't know if it was really the vibe I wanted to be putting out there into the world. I don't even fully remember everything that I said in it. Sometimes I just feel strongly about something and I just want to say what I feel. But sometimes, you know, I don't want to. I don't know. It's just me. I'm fluid. You know, some days I feel one way and some days I feel another, and I just behave accordingly to whatever that is, right? So I wasn't sure if I wanted to talk here about some of the things. Like, obviously the world is in a bit of an uproar right now, and I think for people who would be considered my general audience, probably having a real tough time right now. If they are digging into the things that are becoming unearthed, it's probably taking a toll on them. So if that's you, please take care of yourself. Please step back if you need to step back. Like, I know when we feel like we've had a sense of injustice our whole life, that we have this weird unspoken rule deep within us that says we have to come save the world because nobody fucking would save us. And that's just not true. Okay? And the way that you save the world is not by fighting everybody else's battles, it's by fighting your own demons. That's how you save the world, in my opinion. And so if you're one of those people that it puts you in a precarious mental, emotional state of being with everything that's going on, take a step back, because I promise you, for every one of you that can't, I promise you there's somebody that's going like balls deep on that shit. Okay, like, so things are going to come to light. So, and you don't have to be the one proving something to anybody, not even yourself, to be out there trying to uncover and unearth all this bullshit. Okay. Now, something that I had touched on previously, actually, I think I went and I did a Facebook Live. So if you're following this channel and you want to see the Facebook Live I did a couple weeks ago, maybe, before it self-deletes, auto-deletes, just find me under Nicole Michelle, NICHOLLE, MICHELLE. Almost forgot how to spell my name there for a second. So I was talking in that video about how I feel like everything that's going on is not an accident, not a coincidence, not, you know, I feel like when the powers that be decide to inform we and thee, rules for thee, none for me, those people, I feel like when they feel the need to give disclosure or information or make us feel like we're informed in any kind of way, that there's a secret hidden agenda behind doing so. And I don't think that's any different with this situation in case. And it's funny how they had zero transparency all my life about the majority of things that they're starting to talk about, and they deny, and now they're just trying to like overwhelm us with information. So, like, again, like, let's cause for pause, you know what I mean? Like, something feels off. Let's investigate why it feels off, because that investigation is just as important as the investigation of what is this shit that's coming to light, right? And so what inspired me to, because I wasn't even going to do a video today, I'm exhausted today. I had a bunch of stuff going on last night where I didn't get a lot of sleep. Not last night, the night before. And slept like a rock last night, but it wasn't enough sleep. But I wasn't even going to do a video, but I keep seeing all these people who are rightfully outraged. People being like, oh, we'll protest for this, that, and the other, but nobody will protest for this, or oh, we should just like not pay taxes, or we should whatever, which you're not wrong, okay? All the people that feel and think that way, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But you're also not really truly informed. They're giving you information, but they're not really informing you. They're not really empowering you. Because if they were, they would tell you to study law. And they would tell you to learn about the straw man, which is your name in all caps. And I know some people think, like, well, that doesn't matter because the state is what the state is. Like, and I don't mean state like the state you live in. Like, the state of things is what it is. And the powers that be hold all the cards, and they're poisoning everything, and it doesn't matter anyway. But it does matter. If it didn't matter, then we wouldn't still all be here. Like, that's the thing, right? Like, it's so easy to give up hope in a situation where it seems like it's insurmountable and there's no way that you're ever gonna fucking get to the other side of this mountain of impossibility. But that also is not true, you know. And even if you don't get to the other side in your lifetime, at least you made a move and you didn't sit there at the bottom, you know what I mean, defeating yourself basically. So it's just some stuff that I want people to think about, because I do think it's important. I do think there's a lot of spiritual warfare going on. I do think there's a lot of and I've said this for a long time, where I feel like the trauma that many of us go through is all part of the plan. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, I'm seeing all these things online and people talking about do this, do that. Here's the thing, like, you cannot file your taxes if you want to, but if you're a W-2 employee, you've likely already paid in. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what I'm saying. Like, this is when I talk about, like, you can't let other people control your emotions. Like, you can't be reactive like that. You know what I mean? You have to be thoughtful, and you have to think. Like, where can I hit hardest? Where is the real weakness? Okay? And this is something I was gonna talk about, and then I never really actually got around to saying this on my Facebook Live. Because I think what we need to do is don't go watch any fucking movies. Number one. Okay? If you think the things that are happening are atrocious, don't go watch any movies. I did see that, like, Roseanne Barr and Mel Gibson and Marky Mark, they're coming up with their own like industry like that, right? And I don't even know how I feel about that, but the people that you know are being named, the people you know that are influencers because they're famous and they're idolized, stop giving them your time and money. You know what I mean? That's one easy, real simple way that you can make an effect. That you, as one person who wants to save the world, can start putting a dent in saving the world. Okay? Number two, spending more time with your friends and family and actually being present with them. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like we've been programmed to disconnect, to detach, right? What's happening here with this traffic pattern? I just had a random thoughts. I have a saying of, I'm not with it. Like, when something's going on that I don't like, or I don't agree with it, or I'm not with it, I'm not with it. And I said that to a kid one day. I was like, I'm not with it. Whatever this is, I don't know if it's like a behavior issue or whatever. This was a while back. I was like, I'm not with it. He goes, you don't got to be with it to be in it. And I was like, dang. From the mouths of babes. Babes? Babes. So that's something that kind of has stuck with me. And that's kind of what I thought about this. I was like, what is with this traffic pattern in my brain? I'm like, I'm not with it. And then I hear that little voice, you don't got to be with it to be in it. So, and I think that's where we are too, ironically enough. We don't got to be with what's happening to be in what's happening. So yeah, don't go watch movies, especially this summer. That's when they really try to push out kids' blockbusters. And don't go. Just don't go. Just say no. Do other things. Go outside. But I saw a post, and it was like, somebody wanted to, I kind of skimmed it because it was long. And I get it, like, we've reached a point in age too where, like, we don't want to read through a whole thing. Like, the attention span is just not there for most of us, right? So if we can't watch it, you know, then it's kind of hard for us. Like we're very much get to the point type of place in society, you know, and I don't think that's necessarily bad, but I don't know that it's great, you know. But I kind of skimmed it, and they were saying like don't go to work and don't, and it's like one of the things they said was, and they're wanting to do this stuff on the 15th of April, which is tax day, which I get it, but also one day is not going to make a difference. One day of whatever is not going to make a difference. Us changing how we live, us changing how we spend our money, where we spend our money, that's going to make the difference. If you can start shopping locally, and when I say locally, I don't mean these giant corporations that there's 2 of them in your fucking neighborhood, like 2 Walmarts, 2 Targets, etc., etc. And yes, it is more expensive to buy from more of a family style place, but that's going to be one of the few things that's going to correct the ship. You know, like if we're on the Titanic, we're not even about to skim the iceberg. We're like dead center for the iceberg. You know, so if you want to start turning the ship around at any capacity, you have to be willing. You have to be okay with the idea of feeling uncomfortable, okay? At the end of the day, that's really, oh my Lord, what is happening with this traffic? I don't got time for this. Sorry, I'm trying to navigate here. And right now, this is again, right? Like, traffic is more important right now than what the fuck I'm trying to say on a video. I'm very confused because it looked like it was at a standstill, but now, come on. Now it seems like it's moving. I don't know. Welcome to this city. Now that's how it is. That's how it bees out here. We just live by our own laws, really, out here. I don't care what anybody says. So anyway, these are the things that are really gonna change, right? The world, like, be the change you want to see, right? And so yeah, we can be out here, we can like do these little, I'm not trying to diminish everybody's feelings, okay, but like these are wishy-washy, in my opinion, wishy-washy ideas. You know, you're gonna protest for one day, you're gonna stay home from work, you're gonna not shop, you're gonna not get on your phone, even if the majority of people, oh yeah, I should have got off, even if the majority of people agreed with that, you know what I mean? Do you think the cartels in Mexico are like destruction for one day? Destruction for one day, that's enough. No. And I'm not even saying we should be destructive. That's not what I'm saying. I'm using that as a clear example of like people in power that know how to use power, know how to wield power, have the power, right? Like, you think they're out here being like, destruction for one day. Straight to jail. Destruction for one day. Like, no. You know? So I get it. I get the premise, and I get wanting to start something and wanting to whatever. But it has to be a conscious life change away from the way that things have been and more in attunement with the way that people want the world to be. And if people are out here doing horrible shit, being connected to horrible people doing horrible shit, we have to stop supporting them. We have to stop listening to them. Unfollow their motherfucking asses. If you're following, I don't really follow a lot of them people, but fucking unfollow them. And it's the majority of the people that everybody watches on daytime TV, and you ain't gonna convince me otherwise. Everybody that, look, I don't know how much the current president is involved. I'm not, if you've watched me at all in any capacity, you know, I do not believe, I feel like I have to do this like little spiel every time. Like, I am not on a side, okay? I am on, oh Lord. I hear sirens? I don't see, oh, there he is. I'm like, I hear sirens? Are you about to block me off? Bruh. So anyway, so yeah, I'm not, I've always been a nonconformist. I've always been rebellious. I refuse to do what other people are doing. Like, I don't know how, why, I became that way. I just always was that way for as long as I can remember. Maybe because I always grew up feeling like an outsider anyway. You know, like, I've hardly seen any episodes of Friends, and that was like the most popular thing when I was in high school. And so when I'm bringing up like the current president, it's not because I support him, but I'm just saying I feel like everybody that's been shamelessly trying to dog, and like even people that used to be friends with him have turned on him. So, but why? You know what I mean? Like, I get it. He's done whatever XYZ. I'm not trying to support, like, they're all bad in my opinion. Like, first of all, let's start there. They're all bad in my opinion. They all fucking suck. I don't think any of us need to be governed by a person or a group or peoples or entities or whatever that aren't even going to fully represent us. They aren't out here trying to do what we say. I learned that in 2016. They don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? So I'm not for or against anybody, but I'm just saying, as a premise, intuitively for me, anybody that was out for him hardcore, they on the list. They doing something. Maybe they aren't on the list, but they doing something. They doing something. And this is the thing too, like during like political campaigns and shit, and they all come out and they're all speaking on behalf of one party or the other, or one candidate or the other, and they all start coming out, and you're like, you know, they're paid to do that too, right? It's not like they're just coming out there willingly being like, this is how I really feel and this is what I believe and respect. And no, half of them are fucking paid for that shit. So they're fucking with you because they know you're going to follow them and be influenced by them and idolize them, and so they use them as a tool to get you on board with their fucking bullshit. So that's all of them. I'm just like, whatever, bro. I don't even want to be a part of it. I think there is truth that if you get into politics and you vote on that basis, potentially from like a localized level, you might have more impact and influence. But as a whole, I ain't voting up for what? Why should I spend my time listening to two people argue about shit they're allegedly going to do, but then they don't have the power to do, but then they get to speak for all of us? And I'm just not with it, dude. I think we should be self-governed, and I think we should be more empowered in that way. And I think if we were more self-governed and had less government influence in our day-to-day lives, I think the world would be a better place. But what I'm getting at here is the best thing that we can do, their biggest kryptonite is unity. Not unity in mass of being angry and whatever. You being angry really just kind of helps what the fuck they're trying to do. You know what I mean? And I remember right now, what's coming to my brain right now is like, I remember during the whole 2016 election, we were so fucking legit about that shit. Like, everybody that supported Bernie Sanders, like, we were fucking helping each other, bro. Like, we funds whatever the fuck. Like, I got $1, here the fuck you go. And then I remember when they were like, was it like they were at the DNC or whatever, or they were somewhere doing something, and they didn't have food, and they'd been there for hours, and people were fucking paying to have fucking pizza sent there for them so they could fucking eat. You know? And then I think there was one point where they were like, oh, well, fucking Hillary's camp people, like the everyday Joe Hillary's camp, right? Everyday Joe like you and me. Like, they were over there and they were hungry, and at first I think they were saying no, but then I think all of us were like, no, fucking just share it with them. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't be an asshole. Just share it with them. And that is the power. That is the power, in my opinion, that we have, and we've been so detached from that and disconnected from that and steered away from that, that I'm not even sure that many of us really know how to really truly do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think as a whole humanity is good. What is going on out here? I think as a whole humanity is good, and there is goodness, and I've never not seen, okay, like, I live in a place that there's hurricanes and there's flooding, and are there people that go and fucking break into stores that they don't have power and they're looting and whatever? Yeah. But there's less of those, in my opinion, than people that are getting in fucking water and saving people and putting their lives on the line for complete fucking strangers. You know what I mean? And like that's like it's funny because you think like you hate weather events like that, but I'm grateful because it reminds me of the goodness of humanity. The true genuine goodness that still exists, that hopefully can't be fully eroded or erased or compromised. And that's what I count on, and that's where I put a lot of my hope and faith. When I'm really having a day and I'm looking at the world and I'm like, Lord, we are ripe for a culling, right? We are ripe to be just led right off a cliff, and we just gonna go along with it. Like, I have days like that where I look at the world and I look at society and I'm like, dear God, like, we are so fucked, you know? But then I sit with it and I think, like, you know, it's gonna work out. Like, I don't know how, I don't know when, but I always know it's going to work out. It's going to work out. So the best thing we can do is be kinder to other people. The best thing we can do is not, you know, not go out there and like riot and whatever. Like, that's what they want. Like, that's what you don't think that's what they want? You don't think they want you to protest? You don't think they want you in the streets so that they can call in martial law and bring in whoever the fuck? And I'm just saying, like, are there other countries that go out there and their whole fucking parliaments and whatever, like, all resign? Yeah, but then what does that matter, right? Because somebody else that's an equal of them is just going to step in. And look at, like, AOC, right? Like, I was all about supporting her, and I was so proud that she got in there. But now that she's in there, she's basically become one of them. And anybody that doesn't see that isn't paying the fuck attention. And that's what they're counting on. They're counting on you not paying attention. They're counting on you making decisions and leading with your emotions and not using your intuition and your brain. You know what I mean? Like, for a person that grew up really struggling in life because there was so much trauma and PTSD and whatever, which of course I didn't know back then and I didn't understand back then, but I remember the struggle of living. Like, I still have the struggle of living, let's be real, right? But there were so many times because my emotions were dysregulated, that I was a danger to myself and my own well-being. And I don't say that like in a way of like I could have died or I was going to kill myself, or like, that's not what I mean. But like, in anger I would make choices and it would bite me in the ass, you know what I mean? Or like in sadness I would make a decision and it would, you know, and so I had to, for a second I wasn't sure that shit was strapped down, all his car parts in the back of this pickup truck. I've had to learn that when those who are in power want to influence you emotionally, is because they want to use your emotions as a tool or a weapon. And they know that if they spoke to you logically and they gave you real true information and they didn't give it to you in a way that triggered an emotional response, you would be more informed, and they don't want that. So be informed. Don't support the things that are clearly part of a system that's designed to not give a fat fuck about us, and try to be more kind, patient, and loving, you know, which I know can be hard. Like, I know it can be hard, trust me. I know. I'd be out here in these streets with this traffic, and sometimes people, like, I just feel like people are idiots sometimes. But you know, I think the best thing we can do is come together in a way that is not what's expected. I feel like the desired outcome is chaos, is madness. And here's another thing I want to touch on real quick before I wrap this up. When your people are out here saying, oh, you'll protest for this, that, and the other, but you won't for this, well, that's probably trying to tell you something also. Again, if you remove your emotions from that feeling, that thought, that statement, okay? The statement of people will protest against ICE, people will protest for trans, people will protest for like the people that went on January 6th, right? They'll protest for this, they'll protest for that, yada, 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 yada. But where are the protests now? Does that not seem like maybe those protests could have been more orchestrated, like a a grander, higher design beyond we the people. And I'm gonna tell you, people that follow Bernie Sanders and were hardcore Bernie supporters, they did eventually divide us with their stupid fucking politics. They eventually divide. Like if we could have just kept that momentum and just stepped away from politics, 2016 could have been the year of change. Could have been. But nope, they still found a way to divide us. They still because people are unhealed, people are in their feelings, they don't want to think logically. Like, and I get it, I'm not trying to judge. Like, I've definitely been a person that doesn't always think logically, or even now, you know, but at least now I've learned enough through my healing process that when I feel strong feelings, I just need to sit on that shit. I don't need to make any decisions. I don't, if I do anything, it's to call and talk to somebody and talk through it and talk through it and talk through it and be like, I feel like this, but I feel like that. And my feelings are hurt because of this, or I'm mad because of that, or you know what I mean? And just talk it. Because when you're, are they doing trail rides for rodeo? Let's see. Oh, I can't flip it. On Facebook, I could have double tapped it and flipped it, but I can't flip it. You'll see it when I'm passing, maybe. Yeah, they're doing trail rides. Yippee-ki-yay and whatnots. They're playing music and stuff. Oh, you can't see. Oh, that's the best I can do. My little axolotl out of the way. Let me not clip none of these horses either, because that would super duper suck. So anyway, I know somewhere over here there's like a gas station where they like post up and they have my brain's not working right now, trailers and stuff. Like I've seen before where they have like the trailers, and yep, I see you. They got they're scouts. They're trying to make sure that people don't be. So anyway, those are just my thoughts. Like, and I don't even care if I'm right or wrong. I just want people to start thinking about shit. Like, really think about it. Who does it benefit? Why? Like, why do they want us to be angry? Why are they giving us information but not really making us informed? Why is there transparency but not transparency? Ian Carroll, if you're not following him, you need to get involved, okay? You need to. That dude is going places. He's doing shit, in my opinion. And he was saying something in a video I overheard yesterday, talking about transparency and how it's not transparent. You know, they're pretending like they're informing us, but they're really not. You know what I mean? What's really in Antarctica? You know what I mean? What's really in the Vatican? Like, what's there? What's there in all those secret scrolls that nobody else is allowed to see or touch? Where's that information? When they share that information with me, when they tell me how I can be I don't want to say a sovereign citizen, but when I can be a true free human being as God intended, when they tell me that, when they educate me on that, I'll believe there's transparency. But until then, everything's an agenda, everything has an angle. I'm being used as a tool or a weapon as long as I'm compliant in the bullshit they're doing, and I'm not questioning, and I'm not thinking for myself and whatever. You know, that's just like the whole fucking COVID shit. Like, everything in my being was like, do not do this. Don't listen to it. Don't believe it. Don't. You know what I mean? And that's the sad thing too. Like while we're sitting here talking about that, I'm about to be wrapping this up. But while we're sitting here talking about that, and we're feeling frustrated and angry about the things that are starting to come out in these files of unearthing, and how that was all kind of orchestrated, and the stuff about the vaccine and blah 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 blah. And think about, because at the time when COVID happened, I knew of a woman that I used to help care for that was in a nursing home, and when they told people they could no longer go visit nursing homes, she ended up passing away. And I get it, she's an older lady, she was like in her 80s and whatever, you know, and she had dementia, Alzheimer's, and but they don't have the capacity within the facility of workers to give every elderly person the care that they need and deserve, right? I know, and the people that worked with her know, she wasn't going to eat unless you fed her. So if you go and you take her a plate of food and you put it in front of her, she's not eating. So, I mean, can I be mad that they kind of just let nature take their course? I mean, it's kind of shitty when you think about somebody basically starving to death, because their thing was like, well, she just stopped eating. And I kind of instantly felt intuitively, I have no way to prove it, but I feel intuitively from the fact that I would be within that facility helping to take care of her, that they're not feeding her. Like, they'll bring her food, but they're not feeding her. So think about all the lives that were lost. Elderly, and something I remember when COVID was happening, it did feel like a reset, even though I didn't piece it together then. Looking back now, I'm like, that was a bit of a reset, because they wiped out a lot of older generations, in my opinion, that knew things, stories, that we'll never have that information now. We have to rely on people we don't know, books that have been edited. Think about it. If you go and you look, even religious texts, they've all been watered down, they've all been filtered, they've all been edited, they've all been redacted, right? So that's the power in a generation. Like, you consider, you be like, okay, boomer, but you have to understand, a boomer lived through a time that you didn't live through, and that they have a knowledge and understanding of life that you will never have and never grasp without hearing about it from somebody that was there and lived it. And that's something else about, like, during the whole Bernie Sanders movement thing, was we became very much in the belief that if there aren't boots on the ground telling us, reliable, trusting, like somebody that we know and trust, boots on the ground to tell us what's actually happening, we didn't believe what was coming out of the media machine. We didn't care. And if you're still watching the news, I don't know why you're watching the news, but I mean, I hope you feel informed, but you're not. I'm not trying to be hateful or diss on nobody. I'm just, you know, I'm doing my part. I'm speaking when I feel called. And you can like it, love it, hate it, it don't matter. I'm still going to show up when I feel called to show up. So even on days when I'm tired and I don't feel like fucking showing up, if I feel that pull, you need to speak, I'm going to do it. I don't think I'm special. I'm just like anybody fucking else. But I know that when I talk about things, I start seeing the conversation happen other places. And so that's all I'm trying to do. So if you can't stand nobody fuck else today, please stand yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be loving with yourself. Be patient with yourself. Be understanding with yourself. Don't live in fear right now. I know it seems uncertain and whatever. I wouldn't live in anger either. I mean, anger is good for, you know, it's good fuel, but it's not a good steering tool. Don't let yourself be controlled by your emotions. Now my friend wants to call me. I called her on my way to work and she didn't answer. So now she gotta wait. So anyway, yeah, if you can't stand anybody else, please stand yourself. And think about what the real kryptonite is. Is the real kryptonite gathering on the streets? Is the real kryptonite burning things down? The real kryptonite, the thing that they keep us from trying to do, is come together in a meaningful way. So that's what the fuck we need to do. Come together in a meaningful way. Not in a, oh, we're going to do this, we're not going to pay our taxes, and we're not going to, that's not coming together in a meaningful way. That's that kind of 5th grade tit for tat mentality, in my opinion. Stop supporting them. Stop supporting them every day, not one day. Don't go watch these fucking movies by these people that you know don't give a fuck about our kids. Don't give a fuck about us. Like, they out to get your kids. Are you gonna take your kids to go see some fucking movies this summer? Oh, okay, cool. You gonna be the same one being like, why is this happening to us? Okay. You do you. So, love y'all. Bye.